Each year, WrestleMania marks a pivotal point for the WWE. Some stories end, some stories continue, some stories just begin. But one way or another, the WWE always finds a way to mix things up when it comes to storylines and talent. And that's exactly what we're going to do here today on the Wrestling Card Market Watch for April 2023. Starting today, we're going to try a different format for these videos. But fear not, wrestling card fans, you're still going to get those great talking points that you've come to know when it comes to all these Wrestling Card Market Watch videos that I've done in the past. So today we've got the headline sale of the month, the totally awesome sale of the month, the surprise sale of the month, and the questionable sale of the month. Mixing it up with the format, so let's not waste any time and let's jump into it. The headline sale of the month, WWE Prizm Black cards. For obvious reasons, let's start with The Rock. The 2022 WWE Prizm Black 1 of 1 Rock PSA 7 $126,000. That's the closing price on Golden Auctions, and that's amazing. Awesome sale here. The highest recorded wrestling card sale of all time. And since that sale, there's been a ton of information out there. A lot of good information, a lot of misinformation. Thoughts and opinions thrown here and everywhere all over the place. And I didn't wade too much into that until now. I wanted to use my video platform to talk about it. So here are just a few bullet points of my thoughts and opinions on this sale and what it has to do for the overall grand scheme of the wrestling card hobby. I've talked about this before, and my theory has proven to be a fact. And that's that the grades don't matter on truly rare cards. Could a higher grade of this card, so if you take this Rock Prizm Black, if it was a PSA 9, PSA 10, could that have sold for a whole lot more? You better believe it could have. But did it being a PSA 7 hurt the sale? I don't think so. It's a 1 of 1. The person who got the card wants the card. Doesn't matter if it's raw, or if it's a 10, or if it's a 1. You gotta have it if you gotta have it. Also with this sale, I think it really cements the fact that the Prizm Blacks and the Prizm Golds, the true golds, not the gold shimmers, not the first off the line out of 10 blue shimmers, not that stuff, but the true golds and the blacks seem to now be the pillars and the staples of the wrestling cards. They're the go-to cards for the talent you want. You want a Jerry Lawler, you want an Otis, you want an Apollo Crews. If you want the tippy top cards of that talent, it seems to be that Prizm Blacks and Prizm Golds are now the way to go. Based on sales, facts are the facts. Hey, how about this sale making TMZ? Wrestling cards on TMZ and major media outlets? Who predicted that? I sure didn't. There's a bunch of negative jabronis out there talking about this. Talking about the sale, the situation overall. Oh, well, was it shilled? Oh, well, it's not getting paid for. Yada, yada, yada. I don't care. It's nothing but good news for the wrestling card hobby overall. Come on, appearing on TMZ wrestling cards? Give me a break. This shines the biggest light on the wrestling card space that we've ever had before. It shows that there's money to be made in these cards. It shows that there's, quote, investments, if you want to look at it that way. And all of that money talk, which I hate to say this, but that's what brings people in. And that's what makes our niche of the hobby be taken more serious. But of course, also, with somebody willing to pay for this card that actually came out on social media and said, hey, I'm the guy who bought this card. It's because I love The Rock, I love wrestling, and I want the card. That means that this isn't some kind of pump and dump flip game. It means we've got true collectors out there spending big time money for the cards that they want. Now, of course, with this sale, everybody came out of the woodwork with their versions of their cards. And what I mean by that is that they're thinking, hey, this Rock Black sold for this much. I've got a black refractor of Mandy Rose or LA Knight, and maybe that will sell for the same amount. Or I've got the Topps equivalent to that. That is surely going to sell for this, and I'm going to be rich. I'm already putting a deposit down for a new pool right now. Well, let's examine some other Prizm Black sales that came around the same time as this Rock sale. 2022 WWE Prizm Andre the Giant BGS 7, $8,400. Now again, with this one, I don't think the grade of being a 7, BGS 7, I don't think that really hurt it per se. Some may argue actually that the holder being BGS may have actually hurt the card more than anything, because I know a lot of people are down on BGS right now. And if memory serves, I think this card raw sold for a whole lot more than this about a calendar year ago or so. And I could be wrong here, but I'm wondering if the seller was just trying to catch that wave of the Rock Prizm Black that we just spoke of. In many people's eyes, Andre is one of the top, I would say, 3 to 5 people within the wrestling card space as far as like who's got the most rare valuable stuff. But clearly, The Rock beat out Andre in this situation. But with all that being said, let's look at a few other Prizm Black cards that have come to market and what happened to those, and how it actually opened up some great opportunities for collectors. 2022 WWE Prizm Black 1 of 1 Shinsuke Nakamura, $150. This card was purchased at a card show, then in turn was sold to Shinsuke Nakamura super collector Nate Emerson, who I just had on this channel last week. In fact, make sure to go and check out in the archives. We talk a lot about super collecting and how he got this card and how he wasn't opposed to sharing the numbers on it, being transparent on private sales. And again, both parties involved gave me permission to talk about the dollar amount. So it originally was purchased for around $150 and then sold again for a little over $500. So from a buyer's perspective, we had somebody that had this card priced at a card show for a very reasonable price. Realistic about what they had. Not some of these other J-Brones out there that are like, oh, I've got the, Karrion Kross base card. I want $50 for that. Because the Rock sold for $126,000, this random card I've got that I just pulled out of my binder, it's got to be worth at least a tenth of that, right? Wrong! So then the card was purchased by the Shinsuke Nakamura Super Collector, so it ended up in the right hands of the person who would truly appreciate the card. And once again, purchased at what I think is a very fair price when you look at the grand scheme of the market of Prizm Blacks. That's a win for the original seller at the card show, that's a win for the person that purchased it, the middleman, and then that's a win for the ultimate person that held the card and it ends up in their collection. Win, win, win. That's how this hobby should work all the time. But things get even better with the next Prizm Black sale. And maybe for a selfish reason. 2023 WWE Prizm Black 1 of 1 Karrion Kross, $333.25. That's right, I got this card, I own the card, and it is a surreal moment. This is one of the fastest I've ever been able to get a 1 of 1 out of a recently released product. I think the 1 of 1 National Treasures, shout out to Big Pat Ryan, who's also been on this channel. Check out his interview in the archives. We talk a lot about trading. But he was able to get me that 1 of 1 out of National Treasures Chronicles that came out pretty quickly within the release of that product. And I'm going to do another video down the road about how cards like this that I'm talking about right now, cards that may not be that 82 Hogan or may not be that upper echelon card that a lot of the people in the hobby say, oh, this is what you should strive for. This is what you should collect. This is what is a really good investment. You shouldn't be messing around with all of these other mid-card or lower card or retired talent that nobody knows about. It's not a good investment. But when you're collecting these things that you have a connection with and they're a lot more affordable, it allows you to get the best cards in the best products at a fraction of the cost and still have a lot of fun doing it. And again, more about this card specifically down the line in a separate video. Are you guys sick of talking about Prizm Blacks? Okay, alright, we're going to move on to the next sale. The totally awesome sale of the month, WWE Panini Prizm autograph cards, Hulk Hogan, Goldberg, lot of 2, 375 Canadian with $22.99 Canadian. So the first thing I like about this is the pairing of the two, Goldberg and Hogan, an amazing Attitude Era feud that was built and built and built, and one of the biggest nitros ever. Well, I say built, it wasn't like the Sting build for Hogan. Maybe it was just Goldberg kind of ascending and mowing through everybody, and then Hogan's the last one in line. But either way, we remember the moment in the Georgia Dome. The second thing I noticed is that this is an older card with the Topps Goldberg and a newer card with the Chronicles Hogan Auto. Two different styles of cards, both autographs, but a really good presentation putting them together. What's also interesting is the title. Horrible, horrible title. Could you imagine what maybe this would have sold for if it had been spelled right and it had been put together a little bit better? But I think ultimately the person who bought this is a true fan. Maybe they grew up watching WCW Nitro. They want to live those memories again, and they're like, hey, here's a shot to get 2 autographs of the 2 of my favorite guys from that era of Nitro. I'm going for it. And I really hope that we start seeing more of this. The cards they love, the cards they connect with, the cards that bring them back to that moment in time. That's why we're all doing this, not buying the cards that everybody else is telling you should buy. The surprise sale of the month, 2021 Topps Chrome Liv Morgan Orange Auto out of 25, $280 with $6.99 shipping. So the reason this is a surprising sale, and it's nothing against Liv Morgan, but it seems like Liv has lost a little bit of luster lately with the popularity that she had. Don't get me wrong, she still sells really well. Clearly, look at this sale. But it's a great example of just how some talent just sells no matter what. Just as a side note, I did go back and look at some other sold listings and some current listings of these orange refractors numbered out of 25 from Topps Chrome of the same year. Some bigger names, some lesser names, some graded, some non. And Liv Morgan was sometimes selling than these bigger names that we would expect. And so it makes me think that the wrestling card market is kind of hokey pokey a little bit with how they react to things on screen. And I've talked about this before. Hypothetically, somebody wins the title, somebody's getting a big push. Most of the time, people will be like, oh, I've got to get their cards. Maybe their cards go up in value. But in this case, Liv Morgan's cards continue to either stay the same or go up in value, even though she's not really like the face of the women's division necessarily anymore. Was she ever to begin with? I don't know. I just know these women's cards continue to sell. You could talk about why, but it just is what it is. But with Liv Morgan, I think she's finally hit that category. When you talk about an Alexa Bliss, you talk about a Sasha Banks, in a little bit of a different extent, a Hulk Hogan, a Steve Austin, The Rock. This is talent that whether it's a base card or whether it's a super high-end card like the Prizm Black we talked about, they're going to sell more than most any other talent. And there's people out there who say, oh, Randy Orton doesn't get the love, Seth Rollins doesn't get the love, Ravishing Rick Rude, the Road Warriors, even The Undertaker sometimes. These guys are... Why is Alexa Bliss cards on an auto for the same exact card, I'm just making this up, as an Undertaker, as a Seth Rollins? Why is she selling for more? And the fact is there's just that category, like I said, that continues to just show those sales over and over again on a consistent basis. You know what else is surprising about this? Somebody's actually going back and looking at Topps products. I love it. Now, I'm not saying that the Topps products are better than Prizm. Not at all. I actually personally like the Prizm brand better than Topps Chrome. I'm not saying they're more valuable. That's just my preference. But it's nice to see people that maybe got into the hobby through Prizm and Panini products and said, hey, I want to go back and see what else is out there. So that's another thing that I hope we see more of. People digging into the past, be it wrestling history, the talent involved, but also products of their favorite modern stars, or just other products they maybe are unfamiliar with. Putting in the work to find the stuff to add to their PC. The questionable sale of the month. Hulk Hogan Thunder Lips autograph 1982 style trading card, PSA 10, $182.50 with $15 shipping. Okay, so nothing against this card here specifically. In fact, I'm a huge fan of custom cards in general. I think it's awesome to see custom cards sell for this amount. Because when they do, it means there's a market for them. It means people want these cards. It's not just like somebody slapped this together in their basement and threw it out there just for themselves and nobody wanted it. No, people are actually making custom cards now that people actually see. They like the talent on it. They see that it's autographed in this case, which we'll talk about. And they're like, oh, I have to have that. I want that. So it creates a demand. Again, a little bit refreshing to buy something like this for your collection instead of just the same old run-of-the-mill products that are put in packs that we all love and collect, and that's fine. But just a little bit different. You guys know how I love things people are collecting or ways people are collecting. It's just a little bit different. And to my knowledge, outside of a 2015 Allen and Ginter release that I think had Hogan as Thunder Lips on it, we've never actually had an official Thunder Lips trading card. So maybe this is the next best thing. So Zhan, why is this questionable? Why do you say this is a questionable sale? Are you doubting that it's in a fake slab? Are you doubting that it was actually paid for? Is it chilled, brother? No. Here it is. Somebody had this signed, which means they most likely got it signed at Hogan's Beach Shop. Last time I checked, getting something signed, even just a card or an autograph figure or something just generic, not like the All-Stars card or maybe something else. They have different tiers that you can buy autographs with. But I would say this probably cost around $200. Maybe a little bit more even, I don't know. Then you have the grading fee on top of that, so with the shipping on that, even if it was in a bulk sub, let's just say the grading on this, even though it did get a 10, which is great, 10 on the auto, let's just say this cost $30 to grade. So hypothetically, maybe this person who originally got this card, let's just say, for a round number, they're into this card for $250 total. And it sells for $182. So whoever sold this looks like a big L to me. Now, I don't know the numbers behind, maybe not, I don't know. But on the surface, looks like a loss. But whoever purchased it, congratulations. It looks like an awesome card, and I hope you enjoy this in your collection. Well, there you have it. April's wrestling card market did not disappoint. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and hey, let me know what you think about this new format. Did you like it? Do you want the other format brought back? Do you want to see even more new stuff coming out? Different new formats every time, possibly? I would love to hear your feedback. Please let me know in the comments below what you think about the cards I've talked about today. If you have opinions on the cards that I've talked about, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the formats in the comment, or hey, you can reach out to me on social media, send me a DM, tag me in these cards if you want to start a discussion there, and just let me know. I'm always wanting listener and viewer feedback. It's always appreciated, be it positive or negative. It just helps me put out better content going forward for what you want to see and what you want to hear. And while you're leaving a comment below, make sure to check out all the links in the show notes for the ways you can help show your support. Links to my eBay store, links to Patreon, links to the podcast that I'm a part of, and much, much more. And I mentioned a couple of times on here some previous videos of some interviews that I had mentioned with people on here. Make sure to check out all of the archived videos whenever you have time. Hey, if there's no wrestling on, which there's wrestling on like all the time now, but if you're ever jonesing for some wrestling card content and you just can't get enough, make sure to check out the archives of this channel. Hit that subscribe button. Give me a like if you enjoyed this video. I appreciate your time. And spread this with everybody. You know, tell anybody you know that collects anything, wrestling figures, wrestling cards, sports cards, Pokemon. It doesn't matter. Share this channel with them if you think they'll enjoy it. Let's get a bigger community going, a bigger viewership going. So until next time, click the videos on the screen for more great wrestling card content in the archives. Like I said, see you next time.